Hello everyone. I noticed that many of you either need to add or need help with your backgrounds. So this week, let's talk about backgrounds. So what is a background? A background is like the setting of a story. It is the location or place that your picture is at. Could be outside in the mountains or inside your bedroom. A background can tell a lot about your picture and bring your subject to life. Now, many beginning artists keep these backgrounds super simple, or they don't even add one at all, which is just fine for sketching and practicing in your sketchbooks, but for your final picture, it can really make it feel incomplete or unfinished without one. To help us understand this better, we need to know our vocabulary. A picture can usually be broken down into three parts: your background, your middle ground, and your foreground. Your subject will be somewhere in there. The background is the farthest away. The middle ground are things that are somewhere in the middle, and the foreground is at the very front of your picture. Notice how in this picture of a forest, the tree that's in the foreground, the tree that's closest, is bigger than the entire screen. You can only see part of it. The tree that's in the middle ground is a little smaller, and then the trees in the background are tiny because they're so far away. Now, changing the size is one way to show how far away something is. Is there anything else that happens to these trees as they get farther away? Alright, let's look at a real life example. I'm going to walk towards the foreground, then to the middle ground, and then to the background. As I walk towards this foreground, what do you notice that changes? How about as I walk back towards the middle ground? You notice anything that changes? How about as I get to the background? I'm all the way in the background. Do you notice anything different? What? Hold on. Alright. What did you notice changed as I went from the foreground to the background? Yes, I got smaller as I went farther away. Now, you guys all probably know that, but is there anything else that you noticed? As I walked to the background, I got closer to the horizon. Alright, now, in order for us to understand what happened there, we need to learn about what a horizon is and where a horizon is. The horizon is where the sky meets the ground. This is where the word horizontal comes from, because the horizon is a line that goes from the left to the right. Now let's look at this picture again. How else do the trees change when they get farther away from you compared to the horizon? When I look at it, I notice that the trees get smaller and they move upwards towards the horizon. I'm reminded of a car driving away from me towards the sunset. If I close my eyes and picture that, I can think about how that car, as it moves towards the sunset, is both getting smaller as it gets away from me, but also moving up towards the horizon line. Those two things together are what make things in a picture look like they're close or far. How big they are and how close or far away they are from the horizon line. Later on, we're going to learn how to take this even further beyond with 1-point perspective and 3D shapes. But for now, let's practice by making a landscape. A landscape is a picture where there is no main subject. The subject is the land itself. So think about your landscape. It could be a background for the last picture we were working on, or it could be something new. When I think about making a landscape, there's a few things I like to think about first. First, what kind of land is it? Can you name any kinds of land? How about a forest, mountains, jungles, the Arctic, plains, deserts, tropical, or even urban landscapes? What about a fictional landscape? What would that look like? Does it have floating rocks, castles in the sky, giant mushrooms? Or is it made of candy? Or maybe even on another planet altogether? Also consider the season. Is it fall, winter, spring, or summer? What time of day is this picture being taken? Morning, noon, evening, or maybe it's at nighttime. All sorts of things to consider when envisioning your landscape. So hopefully you have some ideas now on landscapes that you can make. Like I mentioned earlier, this landscape that you're going to make for this week could be for your last project, or it could be a brand new landscape. Before you begin, you need to think about where your horizon line is going to go. So make sure you always start with your horizon line first. This horizon line can be in the middle. That's a good place to start. If you want more room in the sky, you can move that horizon line lower. Or if you want more room in the ground to draw that horizon line higher. Once that's drawn, add things that are closest and slowly add details that are farther and farther away like we discussed earlier. Remember, that means the farther away an object is, the smaller it gets and the closer it gets to the horizon line. As long as you follow those simple rules, you should be able to make a picture that looks really realistic and 3D. I hope you guys have fun with this project. Until next time.